Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler. The other voices you hear, the Doctrinaires. Tim Andrews is here, Autumn Fisher is here, and of course, the always sexy Jared Yamamoto is with us.
Happy Monday, Eric.
Happy Monday. Is not International Donut Day or anything?
It's Back to the Future Day.
Is it Back to the Future? Is this the date on one of the movies where
this is the
we
date
end up...
they go back to the dance and da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, yeah, that's very exciting. I think I'll keep that in mind the whole day.
Marty.
Yeah, it's very exciting to me that it's Back to the Future Day, whatever that means. I see, I'm looking at the screens already in this ridiculous country that we live in right now with its ridiculous news stations. I see that, now that Mitt Romney is speaking out against Trump, suddenly the people at CNN and MSNBC just think he's just the greatest.
Oh, they love him now.
Yeah. What about the binders full of women? I remember when he was supposed. Oh, if that guy gets elected president, women, and this was before Handmaid's Tale. So they didn't have that.
Right.
They're just like, women will go back to, certainly pre-1920, pre-women's vote. I mean, they depicted this guy, Mitt Romney, absolutely ridiculously. There was nothing to it. When he said binders full of women, this is what he was trying to say. God forbid. His point in that debate was, when I was governor of Massachusetts, anytime there was a new cabinet position or something opening up at the state government level, before I would put somebody new into that department, I demanded to see all of the relevant resumes of all of the women in the state who could do that job. Boy, what a sexist. He said binders full of women. He meant resumes of women who could do the job, that he would not fill that position until he saw the resumes of the women who could. What a horrible human being. But now that he's speaking out against Trump, CNN and MSNBC are like, look at this guy. This guy's smart. He knows what he's talking about. We like him now. All right, let's do this.
Headlines for Monday, October 21st.
Don't care one side or the other. We're just here to point out the double standards, the hypocrisy. And as far as show fodder goes, both sides give us plenty. So here we go for another week in the carnival clown show we call America these days. What do you got for me?
Most of Georgia, including all of Metro Atlanta, is officially in a level 1 drought, Eric.
You know, it's interesting to me. I know it does. These things aren't exactly go together. But as far as my brain goes, they waited till it started raining all weekend long to tell us that we were in a drought. Now, I'm not stupid, so I recognize that just because we had one weekend of rain doesn't mean we're not in a drought. But kind of odd to me. Remember those month and a half where it didn't rain at all? Nobody said the D word. Everything gets swamped out. You see that Bulldogs game? They couldn't even. Both teams just basically stood there and looked at each other for 3 hours. There was absolutely nothing you could do. Now we're in a drought. So level 1 means basically the state goes on record, but doesn't. But the citizens of the state absolutely do nothing about it.
Correct.
This is level 1 is hey, be careful with that water. Don't waste it. But no watering bans of your lawn and things like that.
Some cities and states have to request from the state whether or not they can impose a water ban. Like the city of Griffin, down in Spalding County and Coweta County have already gotten permission
water
to
bans.
have water restrictions.
I think we all know water bans are a statewide responsibility. You have to get permission from the state.
Yes.
Pretty soon you're
water.
like, can I take a shower?
Let me call the governor. Hey, Brian Kemp, can I take a shower?
Do you stink? Go ahead.
Yeah, I stink pretty good because I'll tell you why I stink so much, though, is because I care about the environment and I care about the state of Georgia. And so long as it's not raining and we're in a level 1 drought, I figured, I just wouldn't take a shower. But I got to say, friends and family are starting to get angry.
Well, get yourself some baby wipes from the drugstore and just, give yourself, they call it I can't say bath.
Oh, I can't call it anymore.
Give yourself one of them baths.
We used to there's an alternate name, the whore's bath.
That's what I was saying. I didn't want to say that.
Hey, Governor Kemp, is it okay if I flush?
Well, hey, I got a rule for that.
Yeah? Oh.
If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Hell yeah. When my wife and I have been together 32 years, and when we first got together, it may surprise you, Jared, to know that we were both, we were pretty young.
What?
Yeah. We were pretty young. And we were idealistic a little bit. And we would, for a while, we were going to do that thing because we were environmentalist, young and idealistic. It's like, well, if it's yellow, let it stay mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. Let me tell you something. In the middle of the summer, yellow is smello.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just sit in there. You can't just keep on going yellow and not flushing it down in the middle of summer and expect things to be good. So
sugar starts to break down, and then boom.
It took us about 3 weeks of that before it was like, if it's yellow, it goes down. If it's brown, it goes down. It's, you know what? If it's in the toilet, don't boil it. Flush it down. That's what I say. All right, next story.
President Trump announced on Twitter that he will not host the G7 conference at his Doral, Miami resort.
Yeah, this whole thing, it's ridiculous. Now, I saw Mick Mulvaney.
Yes.
He was on one of the Sunday shows, and he was explaining that the reason the president wanted it at Doral. By the way, when I say it was ridiculous, I just mean from both sides. I think the idea that Trump didn't know how the media would react at this point is as idiotic as me not knowing how the media was going to react. The media knew how they were going to react. And so my belief is that Trump loves this. This is this little chronic low-grade war between the presidency and the mainstream media, as it's called. And I think at least 60% of the reason to do it was just to punch them in the face and make them act hysterically. And this media we have, so unpredictable. They got punched in the face and tweaked, and they acted and responded hysterically. This is a little dance that I have to agree with most of our listeners was entertaining for, 6 months. I'm no longer entertained by the back and forth little chronic low grade war between Trump and the press. I think that they're both, it doesn't have anything to do with my life. Let's put it that way. And I thought presidents and people that you elect are supposed to do things that affect your life. Hey, when Trump gives it to Anderson Cooper, showtime at the Apollo. Doesn't help Eric Von Haessler or anyone he knows or anybody who's listening to me right now. But if you want a show, some of us want governance, and we're in the minority. People like me, boring, old-fashioned governance. The rest of you want a show. So I can't tell how you respond to the show. I'm only here to tell you, the more you like the show, the more your country slips into that handbasket that goes to hell. So keep on enjoying the show, people, between the president and the press. I no longer give a damn. But Mick Mulvaney was saying that the president still sees himself in the hospitality business.
What you saw in the tweet was real. The president isn't one for holding back his feelings and his emotions about something. He was honestly surprised at the level of pushback. At the end of the day, he still considers himself to be in the hospitality business, and he saw an opportunity to take the biggest leaders from around the world, and he wanted to put on the absolute best show, the best visit that he possibly could, and he was very comfortable doing that at Doral. And I think we were all surprised at the level of pushback. I think it's the right decision to change. We'll have to find someplace else. And my guess is we'll find someplace else that the media won't like either for another reason.
I just have to pick up. You say he considers.
First of all, anybody who wasn't surprised that the media pushback was born yesterday. Secondly, you are in the hospitality business still.
That's right.
Welcome to America.
Welcome to America, or as I like to call it, Trumpland. Enjoy your stay, but you can't stay. You can stay for a week, two, maybe three, but you got to go back, okay?
But while you're here, you're going to be hospitable to them.
You'll be, look, and Doral's great. There's a golf course. We have some of the best chefs in this entire, well, if not the state, the entire country.
Would have been a good place to hold it, I suppose.
Sure, and I would have paid for it.
Yeah, well.
Myself.
You would have paid for it yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the people will say, yeah, but that particular place will always have the shine that it once had a G7 conference.
Oh, God forbid. I guess we'll do it at the Hampton Inn. They have a lovely continental breakfast. Try the waffle.
My point is, it just doesn't matter. The president wasn't going to gain anything by it. He didn't do it for that reason. He did it for a couple of reasons. One is it probably was a good place to house people. And the other is that he wanted to tweak the press. That's what it's all about. When I ask my friends who just absolutely just adore any move the president makes. Well, what's he? It just seems like. Did you see how he gave it to Don Lemon? Okay, all right. I don't know what that does for me, and I don't know what it does for you. But obviously, we are all so rich, fat, and spoiled. We'd rather have a good show than good governance. So I'm not going to fight it. I'm all for good show. You know me, I love show business. Yeah. I think maybe there ought to be a firewall between that and good governance, but what the hell do I know? Maybe government should be like this. Maybe government should just be Showtime at the Apollo. Government should just be your mama is so fat jokes until somebody drops the mic. Yeah.
And just like you were predicted there, the media got a hold of Chuck Schumer, and this was his response to the drought cancellation.
I bet he was the opposite of Trump. What am I, Nostradamus?
I think so,
How do
Eric.
I know this? You haven't even played it for me. I'll bet you he's the exact opposite of Trump.
He never should have proposed drought to begin with, and he ought to be focusing instead of on what country club or place the G7 meets at curbing ISIS.
Yeah, not inviting the
ISIS is dead. They're already gone. I got rid of ISIS. Look, you don't want to see Neil Sedaka do 5 shows while we're doing the whatever.
Yeah.
Look, you're lost.
Yeah, good entertainment. I didn't realize.
Beach Boys, a Barbara Streisand impersonator who is a man.
and a Trumper.
Well, yeah, he
Trump
loves
fan.
Trump. He's not going to be tweeting out like Hillary spikes or Pelosi spikes. Kid Rock will be there. You can win a round of golf with Kid Rock. I mean, imagine being the president of some like crappy country no one's ever heard of, and you win the drawing.
Yeah.
And you get to play golf.
Yeah.
With Kid Rock.
Wow. You're not going to be able to give that somewhere else.
No. Okay, Chuck Schumer, you don't like that idea. But, some guy, like the president of Nigeria, wherever that is, he plays a round of golf with Kid Rock. He goes back home with a new idea. Maybe I could be a rapper.
Yeah. Maybe I should do what they're doing in America so I can see Kid Rock more often.
Right, and Kid Rock would go to Nigeria. It's just a thought.
It's a win-win.
Just a thought.
I like this.
Go ahead, be boring.
That's what it is. You're trying to spice it up. These people just don't understand. All right, next story.
Google Maps just introduced a controversial new feature that drivers.
Hold on. This is about before you finish this, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's fine.
So it hasn't even gotten in there yet, or they've just put it in there. And then we'll tell you what it is in a moment.
Yeah.
What I want to get to is the idea that it's controversial. People haven't even been able to use it yet enough to say that it's controversial. So when you see the word controversial or scandalous, it means this is something that all of us in the newsroom have decided is scandalous. It's not something we're necessarily hearing come back to us from society.
Are you questioning the writings of Bill Murphy Jr. from Inc.com?
Hey, look, Inc.com is great because even without the com, they've got the dot because it's just ink. So it's Inc. dot. They had the dots before the .coms came along. So it was Inc. dot. So let me stand back for a moment. If it's Inc. dot, they must know what they're talking about. What's being put in there? It's something that Waze has had for a while.
Yes, so they will allow you now to report if there is a driver stop ahead.
Or a
police officer.
Well, that, but also speed traps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Warning. Police activity ahead.
What I want to know is, if it's hands-free, are you able to talk to your phone and tell it that?
No, if you touch it, it'll tell you, it'll ask you if you're driving.
Can you talk to it while you're driving?
No.
That's my question.
No.
What? How do you know?
Because I have it. You can't talk to it.
On Waze, you can't talk to it. But Google, I'm used to talking to Google. I don't know what you would have to say, at the corner of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
You'd have to push a button to talk to
There's a police, you can't just say, wake up?
No, because Siri controls your phone, so you'd have to say, hey, turn it over to the map.
Oh, I see.
I can't do that. You're driving.
It's Hey Siri. It's Hey Siri. Oh, sorry, I turned on my Siri. I'm sorry to do that. And then it's, what is it? Yo, Google? It's
Hey, Google.
No, it's Hey, Google. Is it Hey and Hey?
Hey Google. That's what it's called.
Hey Google and Hey Siri?
I think you just say Siri.
Siri. All right. So, Yo, I like that.
Yo, B.
So it's scandalous because you would know that there's a speed trap and then slow down and be less dangerous to the other drivers around you. That seems really... What's the point of a speed trap? Is it the point of a speed trap to raise money for the police department and the city? Or is the point of a speed trap to make the roadways safer? Because when you say this is controversial, it seems to me that people are going to slow down in those speed traps, and that's going to be safer. So it's only controversial if the idea of speed traps are first and foremost to raise revenue. Rather, if the idea is in these areas, we want people to slow down, my guess is more people will slow down if they know there's a speed trap.
Well, that's why if you find it controversial, you shouldn't use the Google Maps app. You should use the Triple Team Traffic Alerts app here at WSB because it'll get you around all the traffic jams, whether there's speed traps or not. It's the best app out there.
You are the biggest shill in this city. I can't believe you.
Irreverent.
Entertaining.
Gut-busting. Very funny. And doesn't toe any party line.
I think it's a great show.
The Von Haessler Doctrine on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The answer is I have not seen Joker yet. What happened at the box office? Do people still go to the movies, Tim Andrews?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, people still go in the movies. Mostly kids, I think, go to the movies.
Yeah, little kids go see those Avengers types.
Yeah, that's what I don't. I don't go to the movies because all the kids are there, and I don't want to.
I don't want anybody to see me thinking I killed one.
No, it's not that. They tend to. They can't really get rid of to ask somebody who's 17 or 18 years of age to not think about their phone for 2.5 hours is it's just asking too much. And you recognize that nobody would even go so far as to ask that. So it's just, and then they don't realize that when they're not using the phone, having it lighted up like a beacon.
Lit up.
Light it up. Hey, light it up. I'm going to stick with it.
That's
light
it.
up.
Light it up.
Light it up. And so it's just loud. Light is loud too. It's not just noise that can be loud. You have all
Light
these
pollution.
Yes, light pollution right there in the theater, and I'm not going to put up with that.
Bad for your eyes.
It's bad for their eyes, and I worry about people. I'm worrying about others. I can't suspend disbelief and enjoy the film. So tell me, what's the box office?
Kind of a weak box office this weekend, but Maleficent, Mistress of Evil topped Joker and the new Zombieland sequel.
But that Maleficent won, but it's not. It's just considered a bomb.
Yeah, $38 million. That's all it made.
Made $70 million on its opening, the last one.
Yeah.
You know this about me and Angelina Jolie?
What?
You know this? It's the connection.
Oh, yeah?
Turns out I've never seen an Angelina Jolie movie. Ever. Ever. Not on purpose. I just never have. You doing all right there, Jared Yamamoto?
I feel great. Slept well last night.
You didn't get... how drunk did you get over the weekend?
Pretty drunk. Not going to lie. Considering...
I'm not going to lie.
Considering...
Isn't that every weekend?
Sure.
Is there something... Autumn, you're good with the psychobabble. Do you think there's something that he's covering up with this need to be completely? I would say with Jared Yamamoto, there's at least one day a week, and he's a good professional person, so it happens on the weekends usually.
Yes.
But I would say that there's one. You really, your lifestyle is one day a week you're just going to be blotto, right? One day a week you're just going to be 3 sheets to the wind.
No.
Hold on. Don't tell me because once every 5 weeks it doesn't happen that it isn't.
Well, like this week.
Let's look at last week. This weekend here. Was there a moment where you were just ripped?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to the weekend before. Was there at least one moment when you were just ripped?
No, not.
That's not true. You were out of town
at a bachelor party, but I wasn't. But I was functional then. I was just fine.
What's our definition of functional, ripped?
I'm changing it. I'm changing the definition. This is what I tell my kids and what I tell my wife before they leave the house. I know they're going someplace where they're going to be drinking. It's not a question of whether you think you can drive when you're leaving. The question is, can I beat a breathalyzer? If you change this question in your head, not can I drive, the question is, can I beat a breathalyzer? So I am defining it differently. Let's start over again. This weekend, was there a moment that if you had been behind the wheel and pulled over, you would have lost your battle with the breathalyzer.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
let's go to the weekend before. Was there a moment that if you had been behind the wheel and pulled over, you would have lost the battle of the breathalyzer?
Considering the standards are very low on the breathalyzer, yes.
The breathalyzer probably is faulty. It hasn't been tested in a while, so probably,
When it comes to low standards, it takes one to know one. Let's do this.
Hi, I'm Bernie Sanders. I'm running for president.
I'm going to run for president of the United States.
So I'm in this fight all the way.
I'm running to serve you as the next president of the United States of America.
This is a moment in time that I feel a sense of responsibility to stand up and fight.
They call me Mayor Pete, and I am running for president of the United States.
That's why today I'm announcing my candidacy for president of the United States.
When we start running, keep America great! Exclamation point.
Trail mix.
Very nice. Hey, I sent you some audio. I don't see. Oh, yeah, before we get to the latest, I'm still, I don't watch, on a daily basis, I don't watch 24-hour news networks anymore.
You're smart.
On Sundays, I'm like, okay, I got to get ready for the week, so I'll start paying a little bit of attention to the Sunday shows. And therefore, I was exposed to a few more things from Trump's last rally that I wasn't exposed to when we were on the air right after. Yes.
You are smart to do that because much like in what's going on in Britain with Brexit right now,
yeah,
they've created an entire news network over there. Sky News has created a whole news channel that is Brexit-free. And I am calling for the 24-hour news networks here in the U.S. to do an impeachment-free network because it is getting very old very quick.
Yeah, well, I would say that I understand where that comes from and that impulse. But it's been 3 years now since the people of England voted for Brexit. I think everybody ought to kind of focus in on it. And decide whether they're going to do it or not, because it's been 3 years.
Well, I know my mother voted in favour of leaving, and I voted in favour of remaining.
Well, you two going to have to work that out.
No, she's since passed, so I'm ready for another vote.
There you go.
Okay.
You didn't offer.
I guess that's valid.
Yeah, you didn't offer or anything. I hate to think. I don't know
how many people have voted for Brexit and are now dead.
That's right. Good question. Good question that does need to be asked. Impeachment is not so far. Impeachment, as impeachment goes, is a real thing in the sense that yes, they're probably going to impeach the president in the House, but he's not going to be removed. And you start seeing stories. Well, I don't know. It was a big story over the weekend that somebody said there's a 20% chance of removal. Now, if there's a 20% chance of rain, do you cancel your plans? But this is a big story. This is a big story. 20%. Usually 20% is preceded by the word only, but over the weekend, 20% meant a lot. So, yeah, a channel without impeachment would be great because just show up the day they do it and go, they impeached the president. But until you get a bunch of Republicans on board, it's not going to matter. You're not going to be able to remove them. I've been thinking about that, and I really think that some of this people are forgetting is a little bit of payback for Clinton, I think. If you remember back then, the Republicans hated Bill Clinton. And one of the things they hated about him was that he kept kind of, from their point of view, they were winning everything before Clinton would have made them win. But somehow this guy that they saw as dirty and scandalous had somehow charmed the nation. And ultimately, he would beat them. With the public. And some of that got sound familiar? Sound familiar what's going on today? Like this guy's not legitimate, and yet somehow he goes to the public and he beats us. And Republicans wanted to stain Bill Clinton somehow. Somehow. The investigation that led to the Lewinsky stuff started with a land deal in Arkansas before he was president. And it ended, and it was one of those things where Republicans were like, this guy's dirty, and I don't give a damn if the American people can't see it now. We're going to put this stain on him and let the historians deal with it. And in a little bit of a way, people talk, well, do they have what they need for impeachment? Everything's going on behind closed doors. I think Democrats know that they're at the very least, and this is the least, that Trump has a 50-50 chance of being reelected. And they're not going to stand for history not seeing anything. So they're going to put this stain. They're going to put this stain on him on the way out. So that's all you need to know. If we could do with a 24-hour news network that never discussed impeachment and just tuned in and said, hey, today they voted to impeach. Unless you find out the Republicans are going to go along and remove, then it becomes a real story. But given the fact that it's impeachment to stain this president, just like the Republicans did in the 90s, and let the historians always know that. because you notice people don't really give a damn about the Clinton impeachment. Honestly.
No, you don't even think about it
No,
anymore.
the jokes are related because of what happened between him and Monica Lewinsky, but those jokes would have been there anyway. But I don't think people think of Clinton as oh my God, he shouldn't even show up in public. He was impeached, Nixon had to lay low for like 8 years, 10 years
I'm back now.
before he came back. And then Time Magazine said, well, we pushed you out. Now we're going to put you on the cover and tell people you're back.
I'm back.
Because we've decided at Time Magazine, it's time for Dick Nixon to come back. So, that would be a good idea. But as I was watching the Sunday stuff, I missed this. I believe it was from the last rally. This is number 4 when Trump, and we've heard this before about, and it's absolutely true, about the resistance trying to find any reason to invalidate his win. But there's still something extra here.
For 3 straight years, radical Democrats have been trying to overthrow the results of a great, great election. Maybe the greatest election in the history of our country.
Now,
Maybe. I didn't say it was.
Maybe.
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 Maybe, baby.
Maybe.
And what was that baby on?
The greatest election in the history of our country.
So I analyzed the news, and my analysis is he's still pretty confident. That's my analysis after. Although I guess he is hedging his bets a little bit.
Maybe.
I can't say it's the best. Maybe the best.
Maybe.
That's right up there with.
You know what? Civilization is very happy.
So why aren't you happy? What's the matter with you?
You know what? Civilization is very happy.
What are you, an outlier? You're outside of civilization?
Maybe.
Don't start hedging your bets again.
Maybe.
That's a place where maybe doesn't it. Once you're going for it, just go for it. I might be, maybe.
I might be, maybe the smartest man to ever have lived.
The greatest election in the history of our country. You know what? Civilization is very happy.
What the hell are you complaining about? Would be my question. All right, what you got
think
for
you're
me?
better than civilization?
Hey, you know what? Look, we polled this guy, Civilization. We asked Civilization what Civilization thought, and it turns out.
You know what? Civilization is very happy.
You know what?
It's pronounced Sybil.
You know that I like
Civilization.
I like that. I like that. You know what? And then they have usually after you know what, you get kind of mundane things.
You know what? I like trees.
You know what? All of the ghosts and the spirits love Trump.
All of them.
All the dead people.
Even the specters.
Maybe.
All right, what do you got in stories?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, held a big rally and endorsed Bernie Sanders over the weekend for president.
You got that wrong. It was a Bernie Sanders rally. 25,000 people showed up. And my understanding is it happened right near the site where the Amazon headquarters were going to be that Bernie and AOC ran out of. Isn't that great? They thought they were going to come here and employ a bunch of people, but we looked at it and didn't think it was perfect. Isn't it so much better that they didn't come and no one got employed?
We ran them off.
Here you go. This is socialism in a nutshell. You want it? You won't have a job. That's the bad news. Good news is you will not be exploited by an employer. So there you go. She's all on board.
No one wanted to question this system. And in 2016, he fundamentally changed politics in America.
Well, I love when people think that fundamentally changing things is always a positive. It's not always can be a positive. Sometimes you fundamentally change things you don't want to change. But
that's not true.
So every time you fundamentally change any system, it's better.
It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better for you and for me and for everybody. And that's just the way it is.
So better than unemployment at its lowest rate since
that metric
years.
is flawed.
Yeah, tell me
And
how.
you can't even express yourself without dying. So
I can't. Well, I got something caught in my throat.
yeah, well,
I
guess
thought you
who
cared.
doesn't? It's me. I don't.
I thought you
I
cared.
don't have something in my throat.
I thought that you cared about people like me.
I care about you. It's more like, you know that Christian saying where it's like, love the sinner, hate the sin or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's
So
like,
you love-
it's sad. Honestly, I feel bad for you.
Did you say honestly?
Honestly, it's like, I just feel bad for you.
Can they do anything? Can you say something without using adverbs constantly? Like, you didn't need to say fundamentally. You could have just said he changed politics forever.
No, but it's like at its fundamental
I
level,
understand. Okay, all right.
it was changed.
It was what?
It was changed. And the sooner we understand that, the better this country's gonna be.
AOC, are you speaking honestly?
Honestly, it's just like fundamentally changed.
I'm glad he's looking good, but he just had a heart attack and he's 80. I don't know how
I
many
know,
more
it's
miles.
so gross. It's so gross. Like, get your heart working. Like,
How dare you cough over the great Brad Nitz? How dare you, I say.
how dare you? I just,
Yeah.
I was talking to Alan, and then I forgot to mute back.
She has her own forecast that she thinks is better than Brad Nitz's.
Yeah, we're not going into that. Brad Nitz has the official forecast.
Yeah,
It
well,
doesn't matter what Autumn Fisher thinks. Up in
I'm Brad
Maryland.
Nitz. I'm an expert meteorologist.
I had a thought over the weekend that I realized, I like to be transparent with the audience. I've told them I'm on a 10-year cash grab. I know the day that I'm going to retire, walk away. I believe it's my birthday in the year 2029, right? I believe it's going to be May 26th. I think we found out that was a Friday. So I'm on a 10-year cash grab, and I like to let people know. But I also want to let people know when I'm pulling my punches. You pull your punches. But I feel like if you let your audience know you're pulling your punches, then you're at least being transparent about not being transparent. But I will tell you this. Over the weekend, I had a thought, a political thought, not one of those, not a thought that would be bad for anybody, but a political thought about current events, the times we live in, politicians, who would be better, who wouldn't be, that sort of thing. And I had a thought over the weekend, and I realized as soon as first of all, once it manifested itself in my brain, I knew immediately it was correct. There was no doubt about that. I mean, I thought of it. But I realized immediately that I could never share it with my audience because they're not ready for it. They just cannot handle. They can't handle the political thought I had over the weekend. But I know I'm right. And so this is my way of letting the audience know. I know I'm right, but I know you can't handle it, so I'm not going to tell you. All right. It's Monday. There's a lot going on. By the way, TGIM, that's the way we roll around here, right? Thank God it's Monday.
Of course.
We're not these TGIF, thank God it's Friday types. I was going to say losers, but I thought that's no way to call them. If you're trying to persuade people, right, Tim Andrews?
Right, you don't call them names.
You don't ball up your fist, you open your hand.
Right.
You try to persuade people that TGIF is a losing concept in your life. You yourself are not a loser. The winning concept in life is TGIM. Thank God it's Monday, a week full of opportunities for you and me to be productive, and that's how we roll. So let's roll. Let's do
More headlines for Monday, October 21st.
Do the kids say that anymore? That's how we roll?
That's how I roll.
Is that still going on?
What's up? You want to roll with me?
Florida
That's
Georgia,
how I roll.
Florida Georgia Line brought it back for a little while,
Yeah.
but now it's gone.
No, look, if they said it, then I take it back. As a matter of, yes, I vomited out and I washed my mouth out with Listerine, gallons and gallons. I don't want any noises that have come out of either of those pretenders from Florida Georgia Line to ever come out of my mouth. So if they've ever said thank you, you'll never hear that from me again. I just don't want to be accused of ever saying the same thing as either of those Florida Georgia losers. Now, what do you got for me?
Officials are seeking public input for a proposed high-speed train that would go all the way from Atlanta to Charlotte, Eric.
Yeah, because we have so many people who do that on a daily basis. Is there something I don't know? I mean, sometimes I go to Charlotte. Most days I don't. No, I'm not a businessman. I'm not a CEO of a company that has its headquarters in Atlanta and a large workforce in Charlotte, or vice versa. But is there enough people? Are there enough people who do this enough that we would need that?
Well, we will find out at 5:30 tomorrow when the Georgia Department of Transportation will be hosting an open house to talk about it. And there's going to be open houses in Greenville, South Carolina, and in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Call it an open bridge, because I think they're trying to sell you a bridge.
Yeah.
If
only I could get to Greenville faster.
Yeah. I really don't. I think what it is Amtrak has this idea, whether it's Amtrak, but they want to be able to go from Atlanta all the way to D.C. and then connect that
to Boston.
To the Boston. Yeah, it's cool if people use it. But here's the thing. People have figured out if they drive themselves, they don't have to deal with strangers for a couple of days that they don't want to be around. And they've also figured out, well, if I want to go to Boston, if I jump on a plane, it takes about 2 hours. All told, walking into airports, getting out. So the idea, this idea that people want these modes of transportation that take exponentially longer than other modes.
Okay, but going from Atlanta to Boston, that might be worth the plane ride. But going from Atlanta to D.C., it might be faster than driving. And you get to walk around. You're not stuck in your seat. You're not squished into tiny little spaces.
You know that. I mean, this maybe appeals to you because you live in the D.C. area and you have family here in Atlanta. But my question is, how many people are in that situation? If you build this thing, if I'm giving one dime, then those seats better all be sold every damn day. It's like it's probably not a good analogy, but what the hell? This is talk radio. The
streetcar.
The streetcar. That cost a whole bunch of money, and nobody uses it.
But the streetcar doesn't go. I mean, it goes somewhere, but it doesn't start somewhere where anyone is. You have to get to the place where the streetcar starts and then get on it there.
But you have to show me that those seats on more days than not are going to be sold out.
Well, how many flights are there from Atlanta to
I don't
DC?
know, but there's that's free market. So if there aren't enough flights, Delta's going to say we can make more money with another flight, and they're going to add a flight. For some reason, rail is this wildly subsidized thing, and it's full of social planners that they really believe that if you build it, they will come. Hey, people don't know how much they want a rail system, but if you build it, man, oh man, not me. I like being in my car with me, and me, and no one else.
I would do it.
You would do it, but like I say, you're anecdotal. You live in that area. And
don't call me that.
You're anecdotal because you actually...
That's my drag name, anecdotal.
You live in that area and you have family here, so that would be something that you would use. That's one seat. My question is, how many people are going to use this a lot? Because I don't want to subsidize another rail thing that's a great idea that people don't use.
But the other thing is that it stops along the way.
Yeah,
so if you're
like
trying to go anywhere between, what's that?
Yeah, like a bus.
Yeah, but the bus is annoying because you're stuck in traffic. This is just going.
Yeah. And
I have a point. I have a point.
No, you don't have a point if you can't tell me that the seats are sold out basically every day.
I don't care if the seats are sold out.
I know that you don't care, but I don't want to subsidize the fact that you 3 times a year can grab your kids and get on a train. It's not worth it to me. And here's the thing. If there was need for this train, it's just this simple. Let's go back to being a libertarian. The market would do it, right? Somebody would put up the money and say, there's too much money to be made here, and we're going to do it. But it's always these social planners. You know what? People don't realize how much they're going to love rail once we force them onto it. Yes.
Why trust the free market when you can trust the Federal Railroad Administration?
Well, they've done such a great job. I tell you, that Amtrak, just profit after profit after profit.
They say they have 3 potential routes from Atlanta to Charlotte, either the Southern Crescent Line,
following I-85,
or the Greenfield line, the Greenfield high-speed rail corridor.
So they won't build new lines. It'll just all be existing.
It's connecting everything together.
See, it's a good idea.
It's a good idea because she wants to use it.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I've been using a train lately, and I really like it.
That's fine, but you got to go convince other people to do that because I don't want my taxpayer money going to something that people don't use.
Well, you're mean.
That's just I'm mean. I'm mean.
You're mean.
Mean people don't want to waste their money. That's
it's not. It won't be a waste.
It will be.
I'll use it.
Well, you can go get a plane ticket.
The open house is tomorrow at 5:30 at the GDOT headquarters on Peachtree Street.
I don't live there.
You can fly down here. You have time. Buy it.
If I took a train, I would be able to get here.
This is the reason that we have so many boondoggle projects because there's 4 people who go, I want it, I'll use it. Get Autumn Fisher. I promise I'll use it at least 3 times a year. The rest of the year, I don't know what. You just subsidize
Trains
it.
are used all
not
up and down
passenger.
the Northeast Corridor.
Empty passenger trains.
No, that's not true.
No, in certain areas.
It was sold out. I was going up. I was going north, and it was sold out.
Where you are, yes, there is a train system that is used by people. Down south, there is not.
Right, so
in
maybe
this
we
corridor.
should start it, and then people will use it.
That's right. The Yankees need to tell us how to live once again.
While
I
we
see
were
what's going
marching through Georgia.
All right, what do you got next?
According to a new Reuters poll, Joe Biden, despite all the backlash that he's had over the last couple weeks, has expanded his lead over Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
I do not understand. He is expanding his lead. I think the real reason here is that the Democrat electorate obviously is not nearly as leftist and progressive as most of these candidates are. And I don't think that they really think Biden's a great candidate, but I think they look up on that stage and go, he may not win, but he looks like the only one who could win. But if you follow the money, I saw over the weekend, Joe Biden is not only trailing Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg, but also Kamala Harris, in fundraising in the recent quarter. He's raised like $8.9 million, and Warren and Sanders are in the mid to upper 20s. Buttigieg is right on their heels, and even Kamala Harris raised $10 million, more than Joe Biden, who raised something like $7.9 or $8 million in the last quarter. So that may be what people are saying, but if you follow the money is going elsewhere. And Warren and Sanders are not going to both last. They have the same message.
Right.
So at some point, that's going to collapse, and all that money is going to go to one of those candidates, whichever one comes out. So that'll be some sort of like somewhere between $42 to $50 million haul in the quarter that comes out when only one of them is left standing, I think. I don't see any momentum with Joe Biden, but people are sticking with him, I think. First of all, Buttigieg has no African-American support whatsoever. I would tell you why that is, but I don't need all of the meetings that would take place because of all the people listening to me who are advocates for something who don't want to deal with reality. And Buttigieg, and the reason he has no African-American support is where one identification group smacks right up in the head of another identification group. I'll let somebody else go there.
No intersectionalism there?
No, not yet. So he's got a roadblock in South Carolina. Biden has the African American support, most of it, and that's South Carolina. So Biden can actually. You don't want to lose Iowa and New Hampshire. You'd be better off. He's not going to win both, but he could lose both, and then get down to South Carolina and get saved at a point that even though the others have won, they may be running out of money. Although when you look at the way the money's coming in. Maybe not. It's starting to look like it could be 4, 5, 6 people still standing way too long when it comes to being good for the Democrats. No matter what party you're in, no matter how many people are running for president, it always helps if you just kind of thin that. As soon as you want to know who your nominee is going to be as early as possible, because then they can stop spending their money on the primary. You can roll that money over to the general. It's legal to do that. But if you have to keep spending it through March, April, May, you don't have so much when you roll over. So, I really think Biden's support now is basically that he has so much of the African-American support in the Democrat Party. And you marry that to, and African-American voters aren't immune to this either. You add that to the idea that the CNN and MSNBC and Washington Post may be all on board with AOC and Bernie Sanders, but it's quite obvious that the average Democrat voter is not that far left. They don't want it. It's the average Democrat voter has not embraced socialism. 85% of the people at the top of that party have, but the average voter hasn't. So there's Biden's strength, the best I can figure it out. Next story.
Elizabeth Warren says that she will release a plan to finance her Medicare for All plan in the next couple weeks.
Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah, do you have her speaking to this? This is fantastic.
I do have her speaking about it here.
I've been working for a long time on this question about what the cost will be and how to pay for it, and I'm getting close. It's just got a little more work that it needs on it before it's ready to be
Will there be taxes on the middle class with the new plan?
The whole plan will be out. You'll be able to look at it.
Now, in a sane world, that answer would disqualify her from ever being president of the United States. The music says, Eric, you can't tell the people now, but the music can't stop me forever. I'm going to tell you when we get back. So play that Elizabeth Warren cut again. And she's basically talking. She says, I got a plan pretty soon. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to pay for Medicare for all. And I'll tell you why, in a sane world, this would actually disqualify her from being president.
I've been working for a long time on this question about what the cost will be and how to pay for it, and I'm getting close. It's just got a little more work that it needs on it before it's ready to be
Will there be taxes on the middle class with the new plan?
The whole plan will be out. You'll be able to look at it.
Can anybody spot what is wrong here? What's upside down here? She's not the only one doing this. But it's interesting that you're all looking at me because you're so used to this in America. You should never come out with a plan that changes everything. Like, there'll be no private insurance. So 180 million people will have to drop the insurance that they have through work or their own personal thing. And she comes out with a plan where all that change is going to happen. Now, the plan comes first. How we're going to pay for it comes second. Warren is not alone in this, but this should always disqualify anybody on any part of the political spectrum from ever being elected anything anywhere. The first thing that should be worked out before you present it, obviously you have a notion, I'd like to do this. I'd like to have legislation that does this. I think this would be good for the people. But before you even begin to present it to potential voters, how much it's going to cost should come first, not the idea. And then I've been working. Well, wait. It took you no time to have the idea. As a matter of fact, you just pointed to the guy next to you, Bernie Sanders, and said, I endorse his. Bernie Sanders doesn't care. He's a socialist. He's an avowed socialist. So right out, he goes, if you're in the middle class, I'm raising your taxes. She doesn't want to have that lane. She points to him and says, I'm for his plan. And everyone else points to her and says he's going to raise middle class taxes. How are you going to pay for it? You do not come out with a plan that then takes you months. And didn't say, I've been working on this for so long. Yeah. I wonder why it's taking so long. If it was simple and easy to pay for, it would only take 24 to 48 hours. The reason it's taking so long is it's a pipe dream, which you may have realized before you brought it to the public if you had run the numbers on the damn thing before you ponied to the guy next to you and said, I'm with him. My 21-year-old, he was home over the weekend. I don't know, whatever homecoming debauchery bash he was going to go to got canceled because of the... Well, actually, it didn't get canceled. He's got friends at Georgia Southern, but driving down there 4 hours or whatever during the tropical thing wasn't. But so he ended up having to talk to his old man, which I'm sure he enjoyed.
He missed the big dance-off between Georgia Southern and Coastal.
Did you see this Georgia Southern? So who was it, Coastal Carolina and Georgia Southern? It was the homecoming for Georgia Southern. And so what happened? One side started jumping up and down and dancing.
Before the game.
And then so the visiting team said, you know what, we can do that too. And they came out to the field. And so you basically had both sides jumping up and down. But there was no exchange, right? Nobody threw fist or anything.
As far as we know, no.
Maybe they were yelling things at each other, but
smack talk's part of the game.
They expelled players on both sides for dancing before the game.
A hype dance-off between the two teams. I didn't think I heard any smack talking, but these referees are giving penalties to every single player on each roster, which means that we're going to see about 5 or 6 ejections.
Because they were dancing before the game, jumping up and down. What? I don't know. Maybe they were saying real. I don't know what they were doing, but that seems pretty absurd to me. That and by the way, if you're going to give a penalty to everyone on the field, I think everyone should be ejected. So it's just like the punter, a couple of guys on special teams, the holder. You try to work up 11. They have to play both ways. How come only 5 or 6 get ejected if everybody gets penalized? Yeah.
Okay, so here's exactly what happened. So before the fourth quarter, Georgia Southern has a tradition of playing a hype song that gets everybody going, right?
Yeah,
so they started jumping first, right? Coastal Carolina saw them getting hyped up, and they're like, "We're going to do it too." So this was at the beginning of the fourth quarter when this happened.
Well, now maybe they all shouldn't be on the field. Maybe that's what it is. You're not allowed to bring your whole team out on the field. But if Georgia Southern does it every week, you would think that somebody, I don't know.
Yeah, it's silly.
Hey, look, listen. Hey, refs, relax. All right, wait, is this Division 2?
No, it's Division 1.
Division 1, but
they're in the Sun Belt.
Very few, if any, of these kids are going to the NFL. Let them have some fun. Let them enjoy their college career.
Let them dance.
God knows they're going to be selling used cars for the rest of their lives. Their wives aren't going to stop gaining weight. Look, if the future doesn't look great for these guys, let them jump up and down and enjoy themselves, yes.
3 of the players had already gotten unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the game, and they were the ones that were tossed because of the dance-off.
They were involved in a rap battle before the...
and tailgate?
The refs had warned them, I must say. But my 21-year-old, he stayed at home, and he said sometimes he can say things that are very, very concise and true. And he's what I call a cruel libertarian, like I used to be. There's no libertarian more cruel than a young libertarian, you know. Hey, if they can't take care of themselves, they can't take care of themselves. But he said this, and these are words to live by, I think, politically. He said, I'm not for any policy that ignores reality. That's a good test. That's coming off that last story about Elizabeth Warren is going to tell us how she's going to change health care as we know it, and then take 3 or 4 months to tell us how she's going to pay for it because she can't pay for it because it's just full. It doesn't matter what you think about how people should be treated. If you're ignoring reality, the only way to get over ignoring reality is, oh, by the way, this cost about $15 trillion more than we told you it was going to because we got to keep shoveling subsidization in here to ignore reality. Let's do this.
This is interesting.
Or
no thanks.
I think we all know how this works. There's a lot of stories, especially when you come in here on a Monday. You got a whole weekend worth of stories that, Jared's been drunk like crazy. Truth be told, usually on a Saturday, I'm 3 sheets to the... We don't know what's going on. We get back into it. There's all these stories.
Like Santa's sack.
Yeah, some of them are stories I want to talk about. Hey, this is a family show.
Leave it at it.
I don't want to hear about your Christmas fetishes. Yes?
Christmas fetishes.
So he will throw he'll throw stories at me, and to each story I'll respond with either
this is interesting
or
no thanks.
So start tossing.
All right, this first story comes from the Daily Star. Robot judges will pass sentences with no human bias in AI courts in the future.
Now this is a horror. Well, sorry about this.
Oh, yeah.
This is interesting.
Seems like a good idea to somebody. I'm reading the story. Somebody thinks it's a good idea because they say that human beings are never completely objective, right? I mean,
too emotional.
Too emotional, or you've got some skin in the game. Like you want Eric's taxpayer money to go to a new rail line between Atlanta and D.C. just because you might use it once or twice a year. So it's you got the human emotion gets in there, and so because people can't be so objective, they don't want juries full of people. Right now, what's happening is that a lot of the background that you used to have law clerks for cases is being done by AI, and they're saying, well, in the future, you might just have someone who wants a defense attorney that's just AI, and just a robot, because they'll do the best job. They'll tell the jury what needs to be done. And then the thinking is, well, the first time one of those robot defense attorneys wins a case, well, other defendants are going to say, hey, give me the robot. They're cheaper, and they get the job done. And then after that, you get like juries that are full of robots. And you get judges who are robots because they can all be objective. I don't want to take this too far and get too literary on you, but you need to read a book called Billy Budd, written by the same guy who wrote Moby Dick. And human beings can be this way too. When you adhere only to the rules, you miss a lot. And while human beings cannot be totally objective, the humanity part comes into play. I would say it's worth it. I was going to say more times positive than negative, but I don't know that.
Well, and it should be a jury of your peers, right?
Well, what if you're if you're a robot? I'm sorry.
Robots can determine other robots are guilty.
It's not that. I don't think they're talking. I misstated that. I don't think they're talking about juries, but it's at some point it'll be defense lawyers, prosecutors, judge. Will all be robots, and the problem there is that there's no looking into the particulars of the case. I would like for more and more judges have minimum sentencing guidelines, all this kind of stuff. The word judge means something, right? Like, you shouldn't be elevated to that position unless you're considered somebody who has the ability to judge. In our society, we say don't judge people. Well, the one exception is judges. They're supposed to judge people who are in front of them. And I think there's a difference if if you're looking at a 13-year-old who did something, or even something as close as 16 or 17, or there are certain circumstances in which maybe it's okay that a wife killed her husband. And most circumstances it's not. And I'm not so sure robots are the people. You need some human. Have we just totally given up on the concept that judges judge things? I never liked the 3 strikes and you're out rule, which mostly has been rescinded in most places, because a judge ought to go, yeah, but the first 2 were you stole an apple. Mm-hmm. The third one is you robbed a bank. It didn't just keep escalating, but if you keep escalating, hell, you should be in the first time for a good long period of time. So I don't like this idea of taking things out of, because I would imagine, even though juries would stay people, what the sentencing would come from the robot judge. How the hell does that not scare you? A robot judge.
I don't like that.
He's going to be fully fair. But then again, you could meet somebody who just doesn't like your skin color, right? In which case, that's the one thing that's not going to happen with the robot judge.
I would have to.
Unless they get so, much like people that they become prejudiced, just like people. I don't know.
I would want to make sure that the robot judge's his calibration is correct for
that's the
compassion.
important
thing. Or her.
Well, no. Isn't it? It's not a he or a her.
They.
Yeah. Now I got to respect them for all the things that they're not humans. Come on, can't we abuse it? Look, if we can't abuse a machine, what's left?
That's true. You used to be able to hit a TV when it was doing a weird thing.
Now it's got its own rights.
Now it'll report you.
Yeah. If you're going to be that violent with a television, who knows how you're going to be with the rest of your family?
Mm-hmm.
The law needs to step in. Next story.
All right, this next one comes from WSBRadio.com.
Never heard of it.
Excellent website. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Tickets on sale tonight after the final trailer will be released during Monday Night Football.
No, thanks.
I will tell you this. There's only one thing I care about when it comes to the new Star Wars movie. What I'm looking for is that women will be empowered. That's the most important thing to me when it comes to the whole Star Wars universe is... Well, there's another thing, too, but one grows out of the other. Women are empowered, and not so much with the fighting anymore, because, as you know, as we all learned from the last Star Wars episode, fighting, that's an outgrowth of men being in charge on all sides. I don't know if you watched the last one, but Laura Dern might as well look at that guy and said, men, always breaking things.
Now let me crash my starship into a bunch of other ones.
Even though it would definitely serve you to understand the plan, I'm still not going to tell you just to teach you some sort of weird lesson.
Well, also, it's women's intuition. You don't got it. You're a man. You're below us. Things have changed now. We have a new warfare where nobody fights. And I know as a man, you can't understand that because men are always just breaking things. And who cares about the fact that the word war is actually in the name of the franchise? Star Wars.
Star conflicts.
Star conflict resolution. Now that's what I'm looking for. So although I don't have much interest in this movie myself, I do hope that a lot of the children are watching and that the little girls in our society can look at this movie and think, one day I could be the commander of a starship in a galaxy far, far away. It's about time that our daughters started deluding themselves with these fictional dreams that could never come true, just as our sons have done for so many years. So I don't care about the movie, but as a fan of female empowerment, I'm all for the next Star Wars.
You're an ally.
I'm an ally.
Yeah.
I'm an ally. And I hope that the Empire wins. But the way that I hope that is because I think that the Empire will adopt this new philosophy of female empowerment.
I think you would.
In which case, you're no longer the rebels. I would like the Empire to win. I would like it to be all female and multi-cultured. And then the only rebellious force left will be those jerky old white males who, for some reason, their first instinct is always to break something, like the Star Wars franchise. Oh, no, wait a minute. The Social Justice Warriors did that. I'm getting confused.
The Von Haessler Doctrine.
I just love tuning in because it feels like I'm listening to like friends in a conversation.
9 till noon on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All right, hit me with a couple more stories. We'll see if I'm interested or not.
This one comes from the Hollywood Reporter. Barbie Malibu Dream House available for rent on Airbnb.
No thanks.
Take me along on that.
All right, I'll try this one.
I didn't know there was a house like that. And if it's for rent on Airbnb?
Yes.
Is Barbie there?
No. Barbie's not there.
No, I ain't going.
You have no access to Barbie.
Well, you don't anyway because there's nothing there. It's just...
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got these women who, have their ribs taken out so they can look like Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
So first, get your rib. If you really want the full experience, ladies, you have to have a rib removed and then go sleep in the Barbie Airbnb. But go ahead. Give me another story.
This one comes from CBS News. Paris Zoo debuts mysterious self-heal...
Whoa, mister. Where did you go to college?
Paris Zoo.
Yeah, hold on. Where did you go to college?
University of West Georgia.
Debuts.
Thank you.
Debuts,
mysterious self-healing
Am I wrong?
blob.
Did I hear something that others didn't hear?
I think you did.
No, you said debuts.
You said debuts.
Paris Zoo debuts mysterious self-healing blob that has
buttes, ain't they?
nearly 720 sexes.
Okay. This is interesting.
Not as interesting as my 30-year-old producer thinking the debut is pronounced debut. Actually, this Blob story is pretty interesting, but the music tells me it's this. You know what the music is telling me,
What?
Eric? You can't pontificate on this 720 sexes. This Blob has.
Did it go to Berkeley?
Hour 3 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. Watching Sunday football. The Falcons are so bad, I just turned them off at halftime. Matt Ryan got hurt. You gonna be all right?
Ouch.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, owie. You got Matt Schaub now.
It's gonna be okay.
Good luck.
He's got an ankle. Well, I mean, was it 1-6 now?
Yes, 1-6.
How old is Matt Schaub? 60?
He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Didn't he back up Mike Vick?
He got drafted before Ryan.
Yeah. And he was the quarterback of the Texans for a couple of seasons.
That's right.
And then came back. But, hey, you know what? He hasn't had to play much, so he's healthy.
Good.
He may be 60, but he's healthy. He's going to turn this thing around. I'm telling you. Going to run the table from here on out.
Like Steve DeBerg back in the first Super Bowl
Oh,
season.
yeah.
If we go 10-6, we could still make the playoffs.
That was Chris Chandler.
No, Chris Chandler was the quarterback. Steve DeBerg was his backup.
Was he his backup
and
still
he was
around?
40, and I remember
That's
going,
right,
that guy's old.
And now you're 8 years older than him.
Yeah.
See how it happens? I will tell you, there's something I noticed yesterday, in my opinion. I've been watching football since like 1970 with interest. And I realized that I want my coach, and Dan Quinn falls into this category. So it's not about whether or not you're actually going to have a winning season. I'm just saying I want my coach to be a guy who's in shape. And I don't want to fat shame anybody. But there's really no excuse for it when you're the coach of an NFL football team or even a college football team. The facilities are right there, right? All the facilities you need to be in shape are there. The nutritionist. Just everything that you need to have a good body are right there at work, at your fingertips every day. And I really like the Andy Reids of, he's considered this great, great coach, and he is a great coach. But what happens every year? His teams kind of like, they run out of steam. They run out of energy at the end of the year as you go into the playoffs. I think that's a representation of the dude himself. Because, some people will say, well, he's over there. His problem is he doesn't care about the defense. He's over there talking to the quarterback. Well, no, I think he's just doing anything he can to have a seat. I mean, I'm sorry.
Hey, buddy.
As you get older and you're carrying all that weight, it's got to get to you. Am I wrong here? I know people send your cards and letters to WSB
Bill Parcells was
Radio.
fat, and he won a couple Super Bowls.
He was hefty. He wasn't Andy Reid.
He was stocky.
He wasn't Andy Reid.
Well,
some of these guys are
70s
just
fat
huge.
is different than 2019
It wasn't
fat.
70s,
80s, thank
the
you.
80s. It wasn't
Well,
the
sometimes
70s.
the coach.
Oh, Andy Reid? Is that what he said?
Yeah, Andy Reid is now.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different Reid player on a different team.
Andy Reid's now.
Let
Yeah.
the men handle it.
The coaches are really stressed out, Eric. And
By the way, that's not even misogynist on him. Let
Yeah,
the
I
man
know.
handle this conversation.
I mean, for Andy Reid or for any of those overweight coaches out there, I mean, they're under a lot of stress, Eric, and I think that
so
you
are
don't
the
recognize.
guys who are in shape. The best way to get rid of stress is to go into the facility that has everything at your fingertips and work out for a couple hours.
My knee hurts. I'll do it
Yes,
next week.
We got that big ice machine.
Oh, I'm allergic to ice. Where's the snack machine?
I really do believe that. And also, how are the players supposed to take you seriously? If you're demanding that they're in tip-top shape and you're walking around with a donut in one hand and a burger in the other. It'd be like if guys were like smoking and doing drugs. Hey, you can't. Hey, you know what? We're coaches. We don't have to play. We can get high and eat donuts. You guys need to be in tip-top shape. Now, before we go on to the, even more headlines?
Yes.
We talked about my producer said that the Paris Zoo debuts mysterious self-healing blob that has nearly 720. So actually, he said they debuts. But this is from CBS News, and this is weird. This has been around for a billion years, and they don't know what it is. I've never heard of this in my life. The unicellular mold is known officially as, who cares? I can't pronounce those words. Or the many-headed slime. It has, now check this out. It has no mouth, stomach, eyes, brain, or nervous system, but it can detect and digest food. It first appeared 1 billion years ago. It moves without legs, wings, or fins at a speed of up to 1.6 inches per hour. It's self-healing, able to regenerate itself in just 2 minutes after being cut in half. Now, here's the weird thing. The Blob, as it's called, named after, of course, the movie from the 50s that Jared has never heard of.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out. Because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater.
Right. Run, don't walk. It's the Blob.
Yeah, run.
I think I could outrun the Blob. I gotta tell you, I'm not a very good runner, but I feel like the Blob. The Blob, this thing that I'm talking about here, is not an animal, a plant, or a mushroom. Scientists are still not exactly sure how to classify it. But here's the thing. It doesn't have a brain. It can remember things, adapt its behaviors, and find its way out of a maze, which are all animal-like behaviors. Yes.
I'm looking at it. It looks like a gooey fungus.
Yeah, but I have no idea what the... Also, if you merge two of these blobs, the one that has learned will transmit its knowledge to the other.
Stop.
Which frightens me, because there's no doubt in my mind that this blob is going to take over the world at 1.6 inches per hour, which means I'll probably outlive it, but
it's an alien.
It's go.
Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren might have something to worry about.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's effective. It goes at its own pace.
I understand.
But if you toss a couple other blobs on it, the smart ones will transfer their knowledge to everyone else.
Wow, can you imagine eating a human, consuming a human, and then getting all that knowledge?
Well, it depends on which human it consumes.
Well, even the dumbest human, it'll learn how to walk upright.
If it absorbs me, it's going to be brilliant.
I understand.
If it absorbs Jared Yamamoto, it's going to say debuts instead of debut.
Oh,
Eric,
yes.
Its favorite food is oatmeal.
I know. I have a lot in common.
Klommen?
I have a lot in common.
What's Klommen mean?
Yeah, what's that?
Hey, get it. I just misspoke.
What school did you go to?
He really thought I dropped out. I dropped out of the 9th grade.
Nun school.
And even I know that it's debut, not debut.
Yeah, it's common sense.
Even more headlines
more
for Monday,
common.
October 21st.
We need more common sense in this world. All right, give me the headlines.
Hillary Clinton.
You big dummy.
There's a big spat going on between Hillary Clinton and Tulsi Gabbard, and she believes that.
All right, Tulsi, let's start from the very beginning here. Now, I know what story you're going to do here. Now, Hillary Clinton was on David Plouffe's campaign headquarters podcast. Plouffe. He's the guy who won it he was the genius behind the genius. Like, he was the guy behind Obama, right?
Yes.
So she was on David Plouffe's podcast, and she didn't mention Tulsi Gabbard, but I guess that's who she meant, and she said basically she's being set up as a Russian agent, right? You have that?
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's a favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far, and that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
Does this woman ever... when I was growing up, it's funny that the Democrats are like this now. When I was growing up, they used to say this about Republicans when there was a Soviet Union. Remember, there's a commie behind every tree with these guys.
Oh, yeah, the Republicans said it about the left.
No. The left said that about Republicans. The Soviet Union is because the Republicans were always calling Americans Russians or hidden...
Oh, that's right.
And now it's flipped completely. Where this Hillary Clinton, let's hear that again. She hears Russia. I guess she thinks that maybe she would go if Tulsi Gabbard doesn't get the nomination, which is highly likely. She would go to the Green Party,
correct,
and get the nomination where Jill Stein was before. So this is two potential Russians. Remember, Hillary believes the Russians stole the election from her. So then here's more Russians that she sees.
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's a favorite of the Russians. They have a bunch of sites and bots and other ways of supporting her so far. And that's assuming Jill Stein will give it up, which she might not, because she's also a Russian asset.
If anybody's my age, they'll remember a time where Republicans were made fun of. Everybody was a Soviet. Everybody was what was the thing, McCarthy?
McCarthyism. I have here a list of 54 communists in the army.
Have you
now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
But the guy who put him out of business. Have you no dignity, sir? Or whatever.
At long last, have you no decency, sir?
Decency, right. So now it's completely flipped, where Hillary Clinton, she sees a Russian behind every tree. So Tulsi, I guess what happened was her campaign manager later said, no, she was talking about Tulsi Gabbard. And she said some boring things on the thing, but on her tweet, she went after her. She said, this sounds like a Dylan song. You, the queen of warmongers, embodiment of corruption, and personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party for so long, have finally come out from behind the curtain, said Gabbard. I'm not making... that goes to her thing. So then what did she answer with? You can give
this is her official campaign response.
I wish she would have said out loud, you, the queen of warmongers.
But if they can falsely portray me as a traitor, then they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that's exactly the message that they want to get across to you. That if you stand up against Hillary and the party power brokers, if you stand up to the rich and powerful elite and the war machine, they will destroy you and discredit your message.
She's still talking about me, was she?
Maybe.
Was she talking about me?
Maybe.
What is a warmonger? Like, who
she
walks
wasn't
around?
not talking to you.
That's true.
War.
All right, I'll tell you what the answer is. War.
We need more war. That's why I realized when I became president that peace is stupid and it's a worthless thing to hope for. So that's why I became a whoremonger.
A whoremonger?
No,
Wait a minute.
War. W-A-R.
I want to be that guy in every administration. That's my pat answer. We should go to war with them.
Sir, this is purely, an administrative issue. There's no need to go to war.
Bloody war.
Sir.
Women and children first.
Wait, that's not how that works.
War, yeah, women and children would be bombed first, and then when we get to the men.
So gentlemanly of you.
I want to be the warmonger guy.
Yeah, you don't want to have the women and children suffering.
No. Get them out of the way.
Put them out of the misery. Get them out of the way so the men can focus on ending this war.
On more war.
Willie Warmonger. Mr. President, I think that you should kill them all and let God sort them out. All right, Jared Yamamoto, hit me with another story.
Three's Company for one Washington State trio who happily live together under one roof with their 4 children and embrace life as a throuple, Eric.
A throuple.
A throuple, yeah.
So there's this, I'm looking at a picture of this family. They had kids, so they're CrossFit gym owners.
Yes.
And they got 2 kids named Dylan and
Peyton.
Things like that, yeah. And then they met the other girl, and she has 2 kids, 2 sons, Keegan and Kemper. Kymper, 11 and 7. Is that Kemper?
I think it's Kemper.
Kemper. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know
from
what
nowhere.
movie. Is there a movie with somebody with that name or something? So they moved in together, and now they're a throuple.
Yeah, they instantly vibed with each other.
This guy looks like a royal D-bag. I'm looking at a picture of him. He's got a suit and a bow tie and a backward baseball cap. And these guys, here's the thing. First of all, I bite into this, and I start reading about it and go, okay, they were high school sweethearts. They got married young, and then they meet this lady, and now they're a throuple, and they got a picture of them all. This guy's always with the backward baseball caps, even when he's dressed as Santa Claus.
It's cool.
I was like, but then you got to remember they own a gym, right? CrossFit. Last line in the story. The throuple frequently documents their lifetimes and unconventional relationship on Instagram. It's just a brand. I buy into the idea, everybody's doing this, throupling. No, it's just a way for the people who own the gym on Instagram gets more attention with their brand. Hey, we're a throuple, and I'm a D-bag with a backward baseball cap, huh? Isn't that exciting? I can't believe this. I've lived 55 years, and that was the first throuple story I ever heard. And now there's another one in politics.
Yes, there is.
Now we should explain. Throuple, couple is 2, throuple is 3.
That's right.
And in the first case, it was these CrossFit gym owners, and it was 2 women and 1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 women and 1 guy, too, but I suppose it could be any mix and match.
Of course.
It's like ordering donuts at midnight, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's settling along lines of two girls,
sometimes
1 guy.
Sometimes you don't want just glazed. You want to mix it up.
Mix it up. Glazed, though. Ultimately, at the end of the day, simple sometimes is better for your life.
Yes.
I just say this.
Just plain is fine.
Yeah, plain is fine, it turns out. It's a donut.
That's all you need.
Enjoy
one plain donut.
Shut up. It's just enjoy yourself. You don't know how to enjoy yourself anymore. So this is out of California, Representative Katie Hill, Democrat from California, Congresswoman. She's the vice chair. The word vice. I'm not judging. Hey, if people want to be in thruples or fourples or fiveples, whatever it takes.
Quadruples.
Quadruples. Multiple confidential sources say that freshman Congresswoman, this is from what, PJ Media? That's a right-leaning website, right?
Correct.
A blog, a right-wing blog, as they say.
Yes, it is.
Multiple, so I say that Katie Hill of California had a long-term sexual relationship with a female campaign staffer. Well, there's nothing big there. But then, I guess, photographs and text messages obtained by, this is Red State. Eric Erickson's not part of that anymore.
Correct. He's disconnected from that. He's resurgent now.
That's right. Show that Representative Hill was involved in a long-term sexual relationship with the staffer. The woman, whose name is not being released, was hired by Hill in late 2017 and quickly became involved in a throuple. There's that word again. Relationship with Hill and her now estranged husband, Kenny.
Kenny.
I just like saying Kenny.
Pretty bland dude.
Yeah. Hey, according to text messages, The polyamorous, you know what that is? That's more than one. Poly. And amorous is polyamorous arrangement to be a long-term committed relationship. The trio took multiple vacations together. Now, why this is important? Maybe is there a scandal? Did she?
There's a photograph.
FEC records for the Hills campaign reveals that the staffer was first paid in 2017. Her payment classified as a salary. I guess the question would be: is she an employee, or is she just the third wheel in this thrupling? Look on the porn stuff. See if there's thruples yet. It won't be long because I only.
Well, they call it FMF or MFM.
I see. That's the point because that's just porn for porn's sake. I only look at pornography that depicts people in relationships, healthy relationships, long term. So I'd be looking for thruples.
When you Google thruple porn, it comes up trouble porn.
Trouble. Yeah, because it's not. It doesn't recognize it yet.
Right.
It thinks you misspelled the word
new way
trouble.
of saying deviant.
So I guess it's the latest rage now, thruples.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very...
This photograph is very revealing if you haven't seen it yet. It's the...
Revealing?
Miss Hill
Yeah.
is completely naked, and she's brushing the hair of the...
Where's you? I don't see that. Where's that?
I can send it to you.
So, yeah, what do you... Don't hold your millennial skills from me at this point. This is not the time to withhold your millennial skills.
It is blurred. I will say that. So it's blurred.
Of course it's blurred.
Thankfully.
But that forces us... why? You don't think this is...
No, I'm just being snarky,
That's
Eric.
you're being snarky. You're being a misogynist. You're being a shock jock is what you're doing.
You do have to go to right-leaning anything to find news on this because it's being kind of suppressed. And
is it being suppressed?
It's like, don't say anything about it. You know how people...
Where did they get that photo from? Is she wearing a shirt?
That from?
No, she's totally nude.
She's naked.
She's not wearing one of those body
Newt Gingrich
suits like
doing
Brooke
this with one of his staffers. Oh, just come on over. I need to brush your hair.
Yeah, some guy.
Yeah. Come here, Ethan.
No, I've often... Women get away with stuff like this.
Right.
Men don't.
Especially when they're in a throuple.
Yeah, women even if they're not in a throuple, they're allowed to comb each other's hair.
Yeah.
Imagine if somebody walked in on me combing your hair or Jared's hair. The conclusions that they would come to immediately. But if you walk in on two women and they're combing each other's hair, you're like, that's just women.
Yeah, if it was Autumn and Doctrine voice lady, you'd be like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
I turn around and run.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah, she's very demanding, the Doctrine voice lady. Or the Doctrine voice lady, who, by the way, is involved in her own throupling. But I don't want to get involved. I don't want to even let that cat out of the bag. All right, so I guess the thing here is this is a word. You know what's going to happen is 7 years from now, we'll still be here. You still will not have moved up anywhere. You'll still be my producer. And you'll come up with a story that says, the Oxford English Dictionary, they just added the word throuple. They always wait till 2 years after people stop saying something to actually add it to the dictionary. So I'm looking for that for 7 years from now. The word throuple will enter the dictionary. Did I do the opening thing yet? No?
I don't think so.
Let's do this.
It's the stories we just couldn't miss. It's the Doctrine Extra.
I should do a whole show on what, Alan? Throupling. It's my new podcast, Throupling with Eric Von Haessler. I will get together with two different women every week. It's kind of like Saturday Night Live. I have two guest hosts every week. And together you follow our throupling.
The throuple desk.
As we throuple through life together. All right, what do you got?
Atlantans blew up Instagram with photos of Friday's hot pink and purple beautiful sky. Did you see it?
Yeah, okay, listen.
Yeah, I look up occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice, I suppose. People maybe lost their minds around.
Gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. It was, yeah, I guess it was. I mean, it looked kind of ominous, but I mean...
Well, it was right before the tropical storm got
shows
here.
You, well, that's how it works. Does anybody understand how the light bends?
Yeah.
When there's more stuff in the sky, it bends the light from the sun. That creates the prism. You understand how this works?
Red
Matter of
sky
fact,
at night, sailors delight.
Yeah, and red skies...
and morn, sailors take warm.
Yeah, I watched MTV in the early 80s as well.
I learned that in the 70s.
You did?
That saying would not have been correct in this case because this was at night, that red sky at night. It should be sailor's delight, but instead... we had that tropical storm that came through the next day.
But it's not. This was not a pure red sky at night.
Right.
A red sky at night without clouds is a sailor's delight.
Right.
But that doesn't rhyme.
Okay.
So they left out the clouds part.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is just the breaking of the prism, of the light, right?
Yes.
And sometimes you'll see beautiful skies. People don't like to deal with this. Pollution quite often will give you some of those beautiful sunsets. You can imagine because you got more particulates up there in the air.
So are you
That's why California has really beautiful sunsets.
Yeah.
So are you advocating for more pollution then? So
I'm
we get more beautiful
advocating-
sunsets?
I think by this show, if you're listening, you know two things I'm advocating. More throupling and more pollution. This is where I stand. I mean, I know it's not popular, but I'm going to get in my own throupling relationship.
Who are you going to add in there?
I'm not going to add somebody. I'm actually it's going to be me and two new people. And then well, because I don't want to offend my wife. She's been a part of a couple for a very long time.
What if she's into it?
What?
What if she's into the throuple?
Well, I'd have to ask her first. That's not likely to happen. So
Oh, you talking to her?
the couple is me and my wife. The throuple is me and, I don't know, whatever collection of weather forecasters from local stations I put together.
Oh, yeah. Watching that beautiful sunset.
Together. Throupling, watching a beautiful sunset. What a beautiful Atlanta evening. How did this congresswoman, you just showed me that picture again. By the way, she'd get my vote. That's part of my new misogyny. Changing it. Kinder,
that.
gentler.
Yeah.
Kinder, gentler. Because there's a positive in it, right? She gets the vote.
Right.
So she's a California congresswoman. There's this picture of her. It's
Katie
blurred
Hill,
out. Katie Hill?
Yes.
And she's topless, supposedly in her office, and she's combing the hair of a staffer.
Yes.
She's having an affair with. Now, here's my question. First of all, Congress people have two offices. There's one in D.C., and then there's one back home. So I don't know which office she's in. But is this a security cam thing? Like, did she not know? Does she not know there's somebody else, that there's a security cam? Because it seems like a high shot that there might be security cameras inside of all the offices. I don't know.
It does seem like it's very high definition.
Well, since I don't live in California and I can't vote for her at the ballot box, I think I will upvote her on Reddit. How's that for an open-minded guy? Now, what do you got for me?
All right, this is breaking news from the great Jamie Dupree, Eric. Like Cory Booker did a few weeks ago, Jamie writes, Julian Castro said on Monday that if he can't raise $800,000 in campaign contributions over the next 10 days, he will drop out of the 2020 race.
Does anybody remember Oral Roberts when he did this? These guys are all starting to sell. There was a...
He had to live in a tower until God was going to call him home if he didn't get $1 million.
Televangelist Oral Roberts. This was in like 84, 85, I think, something like that. And he basically came out and said he had to raise some crazy amount of money. I can't remember if he raised it.
He needed a new airplane.
Is that what it came down to?
I think so, yes.
Well, you got to spread the word.
Yeah.
And so... now they're all sounding like because somebody else did. What did you just say in the story?
Cory Booker.
Cory Booker did it. He reached the money he needed to reach.
Yes, he did.
He said like 1.5 million, and he got that money. And now I don't understand why Julian Castro. Why are these people still running? Are they expecting like other candidates might have plane crashes or something, and then they would be known? I mean, honestly.
Well, he's boosting himself for later runs because he's Texas.
I know, but at this point, you've done that already. I think it's for those kind of candidates who can write a book, get a show on MSNBC, maybe get a radio show, something like that. That's already happened. You're getting to the point of diminishing returns now. At this point, get out and get on to the next thing. Julian Castro, and by the way, even to be a VP, you don't have to stay in. Hadn't Biden long since dropped out before Obama pegged him to be the VP?
Yep.
So you don't have to stay in and humiliate yourself. Just get out. At some point, what's it about? Is it about you or the party that you profess to love? Beto's not helping anybody. Julian Castro's not helping anybody at this point. There's basically 3 people who are in. I guess you can toss Kamala Harris and 4
Mayor
or 5.
Pete?
Mayor Pete. It should be 5 people tops at this point. But if you're still dangling in there in the 2 and the 3s and the 4, I mean, get out. You've gotten anything you can get out of it.
So you don't believe in Montana Governor Steve Bullock?
Is he still in?
Yes.
He's not even on the stage for the debates, and there were 12 people.
He is
That's
not.
what, at some point, if you actually want me to take you seriously as a candidate for president, you have to show me that you understand the difference between delusion and reality. If you're this deep into the primary and you're sitting with popcorn watching 12 other people debate on CNN and you're not part of it, You should be out of the race at this point. I mean, prove to because you may run again in the future, and then people say, hey, you know what? The guy understands what's real and what's not.
What about Tom Steyer?
Tom Steyer has more money than anybody else because it's his.
Yeah.
So he's just like a billionaire having fun, I guess. But I don't think he's going to make the next stage. Nobody's excited about him. There wasn't one clip from him that was touted. Now, is that because off the debate?
No, there wasn't one.
So except for the impeachment thing, which everybody did when they went around the room and they asked, "Are you for impeachment?"
Okay, so he's just like everybody else.
Yes.
He didn't do a "I told you so" kind of moment that would have made him stand out. The guy had the moment. He said, "Hey, I've been calling for impeachment since the day Donald Trump was born. Had nothing. I'm ahead of all the rest." He should have taken the moment to say, "Well, it's nice to see you guys here at the party, but I was at this party 2 years ago. I'm a billionaire who really wants the kids to love me, so I've been spending money on impeachment ads for 2 years." He couldn't even break through on that. So, billionaires will spend their money any way they want to. Whatever happened to Howard Schultz?
He never declared.
Right. That was just to sell a book.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you can do from time to time. Get a book that comes out right before an election.
Trump always did it.
Yeah.
Every couple of years, I may run.
That's why everybody thought that he was just joking around this time.
Right.
All right, what do you got for me?
British Army Lance Sergeant Liam Cruz Taylor has been jailed for a 6-month period, Eric, after admitting to a series of allegations of punching, elbowing, and twisting the nipples of the soldiers under his charge.
Says here he's been jailed for excessive nipple twisting. Which, I don't know. It's a different system. I don't know what they give you over there in that military system.
No, you get 5 years, don't you?
Is that what it is for
5 years in
nipple
jail?
twisting?
For nipple twisting.
You know what? Boris Johnson ought to try a little nipple twisting to get the extra 6 or 7 votes he needs for Brexit. You may need more nipple twisting.
Well,
in the English society.
They were naughty, weren't they?
They were naughty. Now listen, the other thing you can't do is give someone a noogie on the head.
Yeah, that's
not
bad.
good. Or an Indian burn.
Well, you can't say Indian burn.
No, we can in England.
Oh, okay.
Because we have a lot of Indians here.
Yeah, yeah, but it's big you were lorded it over them because of your empire.
Real ones, not the ones you guys say.
What about a wedgie?
Oh, easy. Or
That's
a wedgie
wrong.
waxing.
Atomic wedgie.
You know what? I'll tell you something. That English military is too soft. So I'm in favor of this guy with the twisting of nipples. You know he's got some kind of strange, weird thing going on himself.
I just like touching nipples.
It says he picks on the Irish Guard recruits more than anybody else.
Oh, they're gingers. That's why. They're nice and pink.
All right. I think that music's about to save my career. We're done on the radio side. That's what that music says. But we're not done, because we never quite are. We're going to go over and do the Podcast 30. How can people join us, Jared?
2 places, Eric.
Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome, Eric. You can go to the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page or the WSB Radio Facebook page. Just like or follow either one of those pages, and you can watch us Facebook Live, the Podcast 30.
There you go. Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
What's the pop culture podcast that features 3 aging Gen Xers and 1 dirty Zennial? It's Radio Labyrinth, hosted by Tim Andrews, Jeff Leboff, Stephanie Swain, and Autumn Fisher. Movies, TV, podcasts, comic books, music, and a labyrinth of tales about ourselves. You'll enjoy comedy, improv, impersonations, and recommendations for the coolest stuff you can watch, listen, or read. Check out Radio Labyrinth on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you catch your podcasts. Check us out at RadioLabyrinthPodcast.com.
The Von Haessler Podcast 30 begins right now. Tim Andrews is here. He brought the poppers.
Yeah.
J-Rad on the tunes. Autumn Fisher, she won't do the poppers. She says it's bad for your heart, and she's all healthy and all that.
Yeah, so healthy.
Yeah.
I had a piece of pizza for breakfast.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
I wanted it.
Maybe you're the midlife crisis gal.
Yeah, she's the one that's almost midlife.
Pizza. That's a college. That's something you hear from a college
Yeah.
dorm person.
It was under the couch.
It was fine. It was still good.
I like cold pizza too, Autumn. I'm with you.
You know, and I was going to say the eating a piece of cake in the morning or eating a piece of pizza.
You can do the Bill Cosby thing? That cake has eggs and milk and...
No.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because I'm a comedy factory.
That's right.
I'm not a comedy warehouse.
Well, you know why I don't agree? I don't do Bill Cosby
Let
stuff.
me finish.
I'm not a rapist. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is that why? That's the only reason.
Small difference.
If only you were a rapist, then you could
we'd be
make
just
with the funny jokes.
Yeah.
You're eating something high in calories and everything, and you have all day to burn it off. So it's better to have it in the morning than if you had it in the evening.
Aha, but I would say if you start your day with chocolate cake, you may just have a little more for lunch and a little more.
No, but that's like maybe you would do that, but
No, most
maybe
of the
not.
time.
I didn't do it. It's not like I had a piece of cake in the morning and then.
Here's a challenge. You've got kids, and it's Halloween season, and you're making a lot of noise while drinking your whatever you're drinking.
Tea.
Your tea. Yeah, we don't need to hear your. We don't need to hear that. So I would imagine you've already broken this, but I've challenged myself to pretend that it's not the holiday season. It's not Halloween season.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said, Eric, you haven't eaten any candy in the last 5 months. Do not do that stupid thing where you seasonally program yourself to go, well, you have to have Reese's peanut butter cups at Halloween. Turns out you don't. So my challenge to you is 0 candy.
Oh, too late.
Eat 0 candy. Well,
I broke into it this morning. I had a couple of the little tiny Milky Ways.
Wait a minute. Okay, so now we're adding on top of stuff. What did you say that you had cold pizza for breakfast, and you washed that down with bite-sized Milky Ways?
Yeah, and some Metamucil.
Oh, just for a little health. Why? Why Metamucil?
Mix it all together?
Doesn't that make you poop, Metamucil?
No, it makes you not have diarrhea.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
fiber.
Oh, okay. That's
I know.
right.
I'm the
Okay, yeah.
oldest woman.
No. I do the fiber thing, too, but I get the off-brand. I like it better.
Oh, I do, too. I have CVS brand.
Yeah, because it's powder.
Shout out to CVS.
Yo. I don't drink that stuff so much anymore because I'm eating sunflower seeds every day.
Oh, that's true. You probably
Quite
don't
a bit
need
of
it.
fiber. You don't want to go too far. You'll never go to the bathroom again.
Yeah.
So it's a happy
I was
medium.
having sad problems.
Sad?
Yeah, okay,
Sad?
so
What are sad problems?
just sad
two
butthole
Ds?
problems.
Oh, hey.
Sorry. I said you asked me, and so I had to tell
well,
you.
Well, you could use better language down there, things like this.
Yeah, but then you think it's my vagina.
from the back end.
All right, so backdoor problems?
Yeah,
All right.
you got some backdoor problems.
I was, and you know how, okay, listen, ever
You're supposed
since
to be
I...
on here to be the sexy girl talking about your backdoor.
Well, buckle
crap
up, because I'm going to
myself.
talk about hemorrhoids.
No, we don't want to hear about your
You have
hemorrhoids.
hemorrhoids.
I'm an old man. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's, I had 2 babies, and
Yeah.
they gave me some hemorrhoids.
Oh, those little bastards.
So now, so for some reason, I was having some just unhappy.
It's unhappy down there.
Yeah.
Do you think that the
and I could never fix it.
do you think the cold? I think getting rid of the cold pizza and Milky Ways in the morning might help.
That's not every day.
And also, you can go to the doctor and they'll just take care of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat like an
And you're a
apple
woman.
day,
You're a
stuff like
woman, so you're used to doctors putting their hands down those.
Get
areas.
some
No,
Tux
I tried to get an appointment with the lady I like to go see, but
The
I
hemorrhoid
keep leaving
lady?
a voice message and they won't.
Hey, they
answer.
call me the hemorrhoid lady.
No, not that lady. My OBGYN. Well, she's a
Yeah, she's down there anyway. Whatever.
CNMW.
Whatever. She's the doctor who takes care of the pipes, and she's
Yeah.
down there already.
Yeah.
And she's got a. I've had this procedure done before.
Take a look at my back door.
I got to do it again.
Hey, why I got you under the hood? You take a look at my back door. Take a look at the trunk.
What they do is they'll go in there and they got these. They have these rubber bands that on one side are serrated, and they loop them in there, and then they just keep them in there, and then they slowly do that, and then you pass them.
I don't think that mine is as severe as that. I mean, I know you described things as like you were going through your menstruation.
Those were out of control.
Yeah.
The ones I have now are more reasonable.
That's what I'm saying. Mine
I
was
have
more reasonable,
reasonable
but it was
hemorrhoids.
it was troubling me. It was bothering me more than it should.
Let me ask you this. Now that you're at this stage of your life, white pants are just out.
Oh,
right?
never white. First of all, am I the kind of person that wears white pants?
When you were like young, maybe.
Nah. I'm too cool for white pants. What am I, a middle-aged mom in a suburb?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all that. Listen, Tulsi Gabbard is 38 years old, and all she wears is white.
Who's that?
She's running for president.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Who's
What?
that? What does that mean? I'm fine.
It's a gravestone.
Oh, okay.
It says, "I'm
That's
fine."
a good one. That's a good
my
one.
favorite pin.
You don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is. She's running for president.
Care.
Oh, for heaven's
Is their
sake.
name Mike Buttigieg?
You're on
No.
Then I'm not
It's
interested.
not Pete Buttigieg either.
Neither is he.
Did
Do
I
you
say
like it?
Mike?
Is his brother Mike that you...
Sorry,
especially like?
I meant Pete.
Yeah, he's
Call me Mayor Pete,
They
and
call him-
Autumn's my favorite person.
I'm her brother, Mike.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it in politics.
Cooper
Kinda
Manning.
half-baked. Cooper Manning was going to be the best of all the Mannings. He got hurt in high school.
Well.
Yeah, turns
Life's
out
a
he
bust.
Cooper Manning.
is a
Man,
great...
wow.
Well, Cooper Manning is the son of Archie Manning.
Archer Manning.
Archie Manning.
Archie, sorry.
Who is not...
I call him Archer.
Who is not Peyton or Eli.
Right.
Who are... What do they do for a living? Peyton Manning and Eli Manning.
Football.
Yeah. Well, they're both going to be... They're both going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And they have one brother named Cooper, who's the oldest brother, I believe. And people make fun of Cooper because he's not. His dad, Archie, was in the NFL as well. But it turns out Cooper got hurt in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear the T in your mouth anymore, Miss Hemorrhoids.
Could you hear it? I swallowed
What,
it.
your hemorrhoids?
Here, you want to talk to him?
Nah, I don't want to talk to him.
It's okay.
You
you all right?
My
It's
hemorrhoids
okay.
don't talk.
It's all right.
They bark.
Hemorrhoids, are you all right? It's all right.
No, you're just doing Senior Wences.
Okay.
You're doing your Robin Williams
Uh-oh.
act. I
Tell
won't
me
have
where
that
else.
here. Won't have that here. What are we talking about?
Well, technically, we need to tape our.
Oh, my goodness.
we have to
gotta
tape.
We got to tape because Sarah's got to take a day off in November.
Yep. So
When in November again?
So it's 20. So the 20.
we're taking the 15th off.
Right.
Oh, right. The week before the Christmas special.
Correct.
That's correct. The Christmas special that I have to write. I have this brilliant idea for the opening, but it's going to be so hard to write.
I want to help you write it.
Yeah, but then what if I reject your stuff? Do you have what it takes to be a writer when your stuff gets rejected?
Yes.
What if I just have fun rejecting you and I reject good ideas? Just
That's
to
not
reject
nice.
You? Yeah, Tim
That's
Anderson.
not nice, though.
I'll tell you guys after it. I gotta put a thing. It's kind of a template, but it's really funny.
You should get Greg in it with you. He's actually a writer.
He does not do good when I turn down his stuff. He gets very angry. And
That's
gives
not
me,
true.
Gives me what I call the.
I don't want to do it.
I call it the. What was it?
When was the last time you wrote something with him? How many years ago was it?
15.
Okay, so let's
But I
switch
mean-
up our minds.
I mean, his stuff was just outrageous.
Yeah, think about now.
Nobody
He's
would buy
he's a grown-up man, professional dude.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll put it out there, and everybody can submit their things.
Okay.
But it's one of these things. It's a rolling, cascading thing. And I'll let you know off air. Because if
Water?
you told people, then they wouldn't be surprised, right? Well, everything's like water. So what are we going to do? Studies?
Studies, surveys, polls. You're starting hour 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll start there.
You ready, Tim? You into this?
Yeah.
You ready to go?
Yep.
Autumn, you ready to go? Woo! Autumn Flair is ready to go.
Woo!
I saw Ric Flair at some stadium.
You got it, brother.
No, that's not Ric Flair.
Who cares? I'm being a wrestler.
Ric Flair is woo!
Woo!
All right.
I'll get my timer
Shut up.
going here.
Studies,
Autumn.
buttholes, and poles.
Autumn, we're on the radio again. So
Okay.
All right, so this is, I guess, one way to
Sorry,
think.
Dad.
So you're starting hour 2. Just give me enough time to fade the music out.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. All right.
Put it in later.
Okay, here we go. Starting seg 5 in 3, 2, 1.
Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. And I'm excited about hour 2. I don't know if I've told you this before, Tim Andrews, but I usually find hour 2 to be the most exciting hour. It's the most interesting hour of the Von Haessler Doctrine.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. Now, the first hour is easy because we got all this pent-up show business ready to just explode. You know what I mean? Just explode all over the audience in hour 1.
Gets all over everybody.
Yeah,
Then you
that's
got to
right.
kind of.
Yeah, but hour 2, and then hour 3, I'm just exhausted.
That's when we turn it over to Autumn.
Yeah. Hour 2, however, is when we dig in and really find the good stuff. So let's do this.
It's time for studies, surveys, and polls on the von Haessler Doctrine.
So, it's been a while. Studies, surveys, and polls. Do we get a guarantee of at least one of each, or is it just it could be any out of it?
It could be anything.
It's a myriad.
But we do have to submit
of studies, surveys, and polls.
We do have to submit this information to the FCC.
It's a panoply.
Afterward. And they get upset when we only do studies or when we only do polls because the FCC tries to regulate everything that we do.
We do this show for the government first, the audience second. I think you'll know that.
We're the only industry that's still under that, right? TV and radio that are over the air.
But, in the other industries, you got the OSHA stuff,
Yeah, well, we have that as well.
Oh, yeah, we do have that.
We just can't swear.
It's hard to slip and fall in this place.
Well, that's true.
There's
Carpeting
a lot of
everywhere.
Carpeting everywhere. It's very difficult.
Yeah, you can do it.
Manufacture some sort of health crisis that you can sit on your butt. I've been trying. It might be great to have one of the best.
There was no sign telling me not to eat the carpets.
Yeah, so I ate them, and now I'm going to be out for a month. A great way to be out is like where you're hurt just enough that they have to pay you, but you're not so hurt that you can't enjoy. I don't know.
Right, that you're miserable at home.
Yeah, you can binge watch your favorite shows, but that's not my fate. I work in a place where it's almost impossible to slip and fall, except for maybe the break room
or the bathroom.
Yeah, and who knows what goes on in there.
You should be here on the weekend.
Man, oh man. Can I tell you that one private bathroom that I go to? Not so private, but it's one at a time. This is a conclusion that I have come up with about my colleagues. The men is all I know about in my bathroom. But number one, they need more hydration. Number two, they need more fiber. All right, now let's
Number
go.
three, people aren't flushing the toilet.
Yeah, well, that's
what?
Yeah, sometimes, every once in a while.
Well, men are animals.
Sometimes, you're in a hurry and you don't have enough time.
It was you.
No, I flush every time. I'm a respectable gentleman.
On Mondays when he's hungover, I'll see him come out of my bathroom. I'm like, I'm not going in there.
Oh, yeah. You do not want to come.
If he chose not to go to the public bathroom, I'm not following him in there.
The three worst ones.
Especially that hungover.
Oh, no.
Never,
all right, let's not get too graphic.
Never go behind Mark Arum or never go behind
That's
Alex
true,
Williams.
Yeah.
Never go behind them. I'm much better.
Arum I knew. Alex Williams makes sense. But Arum I knew. Arum does not. He's like Tim Andrews. He doesn't have a gallbladder, and he won't change his diet.
He doesn't have one?
No, but he's like you in the sense that he has a problem. He has backdoor problems. You'll have to talk to call Mark Arum tonight. Ask him about his backdoor
Hey,
problem.
buddy, let's talk about it.
All right.
This is a study from Portland State University.
Oh, they're good with the studies.
They have found that less educated men are most likely to take the wife's last name after marriage instead of the wife taking their last name.
So, wow, that's weird. So less educated men give up their last name, maybe because they're dominated because their wives are so much smarter than they are.
Right.
And they just sort of do what they're told.
That's right, I took her name.
You're going to take my name.
That's right, I took her name.
You're very progressive.
I'm in charge in the boardroom, and I'm in charge in our home.
In the bedroom.
That's right.
In the bedroom. Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. Do you need anything done before you get home?
Yeah, I need all the stuff done. What do you mean?
Well,
You're in charge of the house. I'm out working in the boardroom.
You left me a honey-do list. I'm about 7% done with it.
How do you know what percentages are if you're not so smart?
What?
I think that they would.
There were 10 things. I got 7 done.
Uh-huh.
That's 7%.
Is it?
That's easy.
That seems kind of easy, yeah.
Yep.
So I think that this would go against the narrative. I hate to use that term narrative because it's usually just hacks. Now it's hacks plus me who use the word narrative on the radio. But wouldn't you think that
more educated
enlightened people would be like, I'm so enlightened.
You would think.
I love that because they don't seem to recognize that your wife's last name is still patriarchal. It's not her mother's, it's her father's. I love that. I'm not going to give up my name. I'm a hyphenate now because I'm a woman and I want to keep the patriarchal name from my. It's all patriarchal. You keep your name. It's still patriarchal. Doesn't matter. It's not your mom's last name. And even if you took your mom's last name, that's her father's last name. You can't get out of this.
We're breaking the cycle.
You're breaking the cycle? So if you really want your own name, you have to change your name to one that you invented.
That would be the healthiest way to handle
Well,
it.
some people do that. They make like a hybrid of the two last names.
No, but that's what I'm saying is both of those last names are patriarchal, even the
Right,
woman's
but they're
name.
calling it a new word. I don't agree. I think it's silly to do that, but some people are doing that.
In order for this to happen, you have to get rid of all the names, start them new, and then only pass down the woman's name.
You know what you should do? Instead of, like in the past, it was like Smith or Freeman, stuff like that, right? It would describe your household and what you did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do now, like internet gamer, something gamer.
Gamer.
If they get married, will it be
Jeffrey
Offset
Gamer.
B? Will it be Offset B?
I'm Michelle Gamer.
Yeah. I'm Michelle Homemaker.
Feliciano.
Now, I would give the men a little bit of a break if they have a bad last name. Like, there's some people out there that have some bad last names.
Autumn used to have a bad last name, but she married into a good name.
So.
I mean, she had a good. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad because I know her family. She has a great family.
Yeah.
But I just think Pritz is too much like Pitts. Like you're in the pits.
I knew a guy, his last name was, began with a T and it ended with Worth. It's Worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
And he changed it to Baloo.
I had this idea years ago to write a sketch, and there would be that it's two white guys